All right. Let's see. I think we can go ahead and get started. I think we've probably got everyone here who is going to be. So let's see. I guess we'll start with introductions. We'll let everyone kind of introduce themselves. Tell everybody a little bit about you. But firstly, of course, I guess I'll introduce myself. So I am Clayton. I do come from the US. I live right in the very center of the country. But yeah, I will be your teacher for today. So, for those of you who are just listening, do feel free to put any questions that you have in the chat box, and we will address that accordingly. So for introductions, for everyone who is participating today, we're just going to do normal introduction. Of course, tell everybody your name or what you prefer to be called, where you're from, and you can say anything about you that you want us to know. But while you're giving your introduction, I would just like you to answer the question on the slide. So the question is, what happened to the man, and do you think he was rescued? So be thinking about that, since the topic today is telling a story. You'll kind of look at the pictures and kind of create your own little story to determine what you think happened to the man. And then, of course, also tell us whether you think he was rescued. So, I think we'll just go ahead and we'll start with Susanna. So, Susanna, go ahead and introduce yourself to the class and tell us what happened to the man.
Hi, teacher. Hi, everybody. My name is Susana. I live in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro, and I'm a Paralympic athlete.
So, Susanna, what do you think happened to the man?
I think he was rescued.
Okay. So you think he was rescued?
Yeah.
So what do you think happened? Do you think he looks like he was on a boat?
I think the boat, his boat, I don't know the name, doesn't work.
Okay, so maybe it broke or crashed. Yeah. Okay, so the boat crashed. But you think he was rescued, so that's good. So yeah, perfect job, Susanna. So how about we've got, is it Wilderson? Would you like to introduce yourself to the class and then give us a little story about what you think happened to the man?
Okay. Hello, teacher. Hello, everyone. My name is Wilderson. I was born in Brazil, and I live in Brazil yet. I am 24 years old. And about the question, I think he was not recused because it's very hard to do it, and his ship was crashed, I think.
Okay.
And he was lost in Iceland.
Okay, yeah, perfect. So he was lost on an island. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, great addition here. So, yeah, it seems maybe that he could have possibly not been rescued, as it could be quite difficult. But yeah, seems we've got so far the common idea that he was on a boat, and that boat seems to have crashed, for some reason. And yeah, he ended up lost on an island. So yeah, very good job, Wilderson. Next, we've got Brenda. So Brenda, go ahead, introduce yourself, and tell us what you think happened to the man.
Hello, teacher. Hello, everyone. My name is Brenda. I'm from Brazil, and I think he had an accident with his boat, and the boat sank, and he had to go swimming to an island. And I think he will be his code
Rescued.
rescued.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, so you think he'll be rescued, but do you think that there was an accident with the boat? And then, of course, yeah, that boat seems to have sank, and he had to swim to the island. Yeah, perfect. And then, of course, yeah, being rescued can be quite a challenge on an island in the middle of the ocean. You just have to hope, that someone will fly by and see your message in the sand or some kind of signal. So yeah, very good job, Brenda. So it looks like next we've got Fernando. So Fernando, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you think happened to the man. Fernando, I think maybe we don't have audio from you. Fernando, if you'd try to refresh your web page. Usually that kind of solves that problem. All right, so we'll wait for Fernando, see if that problem is fixed.
Hello, can you hear
All
me?
right, yeah, you're good now. All right,
Right.
go ahead, Fernando.
My name is Fernando. I'm from Brazil. Many Brazilians here today.
Yeah.
And I'm 26 years old. And about the story, I think the guy was sailing and a storm come, and then I think the boat broke or something happened, and he got stuck. He was taken to the beach and got stuck. I think.
Yeah, so stuck on the beach. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, very good. Yeah, perfect. So we've got, some new addition there. So he was probably sailing. And then it seems like maybe a storm came and, caused his boat to maybe break down or, possibly sink. But yeah, like Fernando said, it kind of ended up with him stuck on an island or on the beach. So yeah, we can kind of see from that, yeah, he looks to be kind of stranded. So that's another good word to use. So stranded, meaning stuck in the middle of nowhere with not a lot around. So yeah, very good job, Fernando. And lastly, we've got Abdulaziz. Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us about the man?
Yes, hi teacher, hello everyone. My name is Abdulaziz. I am from Saudi Arabia. And about the question, I think the man who sails to island, he faced a strong storm and wind, and his boat crashed into a long waves and broken. And I think the man unfortunately died.
Okay, so you think the man did not survive, so you think that he died from the accident. Um, yeah, which definitely can happen. The ocean is, can be quite a dangerous place. So let's see. I think we've got also here in the messages from Wendy. So yeah, kind of as Wendy was saying that, the man seems to be in the middle of the ocean. And yeah, so he went through a thunderstorm, and yeah, he definitely still needs to be rescued. So let me add, that's some good vocabulary. So thunderstorm, just another way to describe a really bad storm with lots of lightning and thunder. And then, yeah, that he needs rescued. So yeah, he definitely needs rescued, as you can see from the SOS sign, which is kind of the international symbol of, needing help or that someone is in danger. So yeah, I think that's everyone. So fantastic job. It's really great to meet you all. So here, now that we've kind of addressed the situation with the man and his, boat situation, we will jump to the next slide here. So here, we're just going to look at a little bit of new vocabulary. So I'll go ahead and I will put these in our vocabulary list. So we have a fairy tale. So, of course, a kind of mystical story, that's typically in a lot of different traditional, cultures, parts of different countries' histories. And then next we have a princess. So then we have a ghost. And lastly, a castle. And the categories are, of course, real and imaginary. So real being something you can find in real life, your everyday. Imaginary, something that is not found in the real world. So let's see. We have each vocabulary word, and I'll give 4 of you a chance to kind of look at the word, and you're just going to place it either real or imaginary. So let's start with Susanna. So Susanna, a fairy tale. Do you think that is real or imaginary?
It is imaginary.
Imaginary. Yep, perfect. Yeah, absolutely. So fairy tale, typically always going to be a kind of mystical or imaginary story. So typically, of course, something that would not happen in real life. So very good, Susanna. Looks like next we've got Brenda. So Brenda, what about a princess? Real or imaginary?
A princess is real.
Real, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, princesses, they do tend to appear in fairy tales, but they do actually exist in real life in certain countries that have a king or a queen. Typically, their daughters are princesses, so definitely something that is real. So how about Fernando? So Fernando, what about a ghost?
Ghost is imaginary.
Yeah, very good. So yeah, there we have ghost, imaginary, typically just something of, fairy tales or stories, not necessarily something that we see in real life, which of course, depending on your perspective, on that. But yeah, typically we see it as imaginary. And so lastly, we've got Abdulaziz. So tell us about castle.
A castle is belong to a real column.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect job. Castle, just like princess, we do see that appear a lot in fairy tales or fake stories. But of course, castles do actually exist, and they are something that, we see in the real life, something that we would see in kind of our everyday activity, which of course, depending on your country, some countries do have castles, some do not, but it is something that truly does exist. So, fantastic job, everyone. We got those all perfectly. So, we will go ahead and we'll go to the next activity here. So, the next one is just going to be telling stories is a popular pastime in many cultures. So here, I would like you to all kind of think about some popular stories in your country. So just kind of think about, the fairy tales, the stuff that we would also call as folklore, or simply just lore, meaning something that is from our culture, but we know it's just kind of a fake story. But typically they are quite traditional. So be thinking about some stories from your country. So you're just going to kind of tell us a little bit about those stories, give us a little bit of a background into each story. So, for example, they say some people's stories in my country are fairy tales about princesses. So there you can kind of see to just grasp kind of a certain concept or a certain genre about certain stories from your country, and then you'll just tell us a little bit about it, and then next you'll just tell us what kind of stories do you like to hear. So, for example, I love to hear scary stories about ghosts. They are my favorite kind of story. So there, again, you'll just kind of think about your favorite type of story. So how about we'll start with Susanna. So Susanna, tell us a little bit about some popular stories in Brazil, and then tell us what kind of stories do you like to hear.
I like the scary stories too. In Brazil,
Okay. So you like
many people like to. Now I tell my favorite story.
Yeah, some stories from Brazil. What's a good story that is common in Brazil? Like, for example, Susanna, in the US, we always have kind of a fake story that we could talk about the boogeyman.
Okay.
So the boogeyman, who steals the children at night just to kind of make them stay at home and not disobey their parents. So what are some kind of stories like that from Brazil?
Here in Brazil, have a story from Saci Pererê. It's a young boy without a leg, and he I don't know falar.
So does he like steal
Yeah.
the children or
No, the children, not the
okay.
toys. The He disappears.
Oh.
Disappears sometimes, and sorry about my English. It's not good.
Oh, no, that's okay. That's okay. Not a problem.
Maybe another Brazilian today here knows Sassiperede.
Okay. And what's that one about?
Excuse me?
What is that story about? So is it similar to the last
Yeah.
one with the guy with just one
Yeah.
leg who, kind of disappears? Maybe he's just used to kind of scare the children.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, that's good. That's of course, each country does have their own kind of uh, stories for, I think, most of the time to scare children and kind of make them obey their parents. So, very common types of stories. So let's see. Next, I guess we've got Fernando. So, Fernando, go ahead and tell us also some stories that you know from Brazil, and what kind of stories do you like to hear?
Nice. I think here in Brazil we have a lot local stories depending on the state, but about wolves
Mm-hmm.
that are and that exists one story, one folkloric story about Yara, which is a mermaid. She sings to attract men and kill those men.
Okay.
Yara is like the mother of waters, we say here.
Okay.
And I like so much, really, really like stories about sci-fi, like robots or artificial intelligence, and horror tales. I like to. I love one author called Edgar Allan Poe, which is American, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I love his tales.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Edgar Allan Poe, definitely a good author if you like the kind of dark,
Yeah,
more scary kind of stories.
he's
Yeah, he
brilliant.
wrote a lot of very scary stories, kind of some sad, not so, not very good for children type of
Yeah,
stories.
and not very good for read at night.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely not one that is good to read at night. I remember my classes in school, we had to read a lot of Edgar Allan Poe, and yeah, they're just very sad. A lot of things have happened to him and his life, and it very much appears in his writings. Um, yeah, you can see a lot of his feelings in his work. So yeah, I think that's why a lot of people like those kind of dark, horror, scary types of stories.
Yeah, I read a lot about him in my graduation. I did languages and literature, and
Okay, yeah.
it's awesome his tales.
hmm Yeah, definitely. If you study literature, definitely Edgar Allan Poe is going to probably appear at some point in your studies. Very, very famous author. But yeah, you can always kind of feel the things that had happened in his life. So let's see. Very good. Yeah, very good stories. The werewolves, mermaids, very common in the types of scary or in the stories that have to do with fairy tales and stuff like that. So very good job, Fernando. Let's see.
Thank
Yeah, absolutely. So next, let's see, we've got Abdulaziz. So tell us, what are some popular stories from Saudi Arabia, and what kind of stories do you like?
Yes, teacher. We have here when you go to a desert at night, you will look something or like a line open a light on you. He is like called you to come. Okay? And when you come to her or his, he will change his location. You know, and after that you follow him in the another location. He will do like this many time until you lost in the desert.
Okay.
Yeah, and I like wisdom story.
Okay, so you like more the like nonfiction kind of stuff where you can learn.
I I like story you can get from the story an information or in information in benefit information.
Okay, so yeah, very informational stories.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, perfect. So yeah, definitely some other good stories there. So like Abdulaziz was mentioning, since he does live in Saudi Arabia, lots of, the story has to do with the light that tries to attract you into the desert, and every time you get to that light, it changes location, trying to get you to follow it, and then you end up lost. So yeah, definitely, kind of something scary to think about, being eventually lost in the desert. So yeah, there's always a lot of great, types of stories. I know, especially here in the United States, a lot of stories do come from native tradition. So like the Native American peoples from here, uh, really a lot of types of stories that have to do with people changing, or as we say, shape shifting. So changing from one form to another, trying to, hide, sometimes even in plain sight. Lots of stories like that. Or, as I mentioned before, the boogeyman, which does kind of come from folklore from the United States, where people go out at night and they typically don't come back because they get kidnapped or taken. But of course, like we said, just kind of a story, just kind of a story to scare the children into staying at home, not going out into the dark, just trying to make them obey their parents. So yeah, lots of things like the boogeyman, or sometimes they think the inspiration. Maybe you've heard of Bigfoot, has kind of the very common story here. So yeah, lots of different stories from different cultures. Really a lot of different genres, like we mentioned here, sci-fi, the artificial intelligence, informational stories, horror or scary, but even more just in general terms, you've also got nonfiction and just, fictional stories. This is kind of a general term. Um, let's see. I think also we've got one addition here from Wendy. So Wendy mentioned she likes the real stories, so of course more nonfiction. And let's see. So in her country, So Wendy is from Indonesia, and it looks like in her country they have stories about a bad son who is not good to his mother, and that his mother cursed to be the mountain. So okay, so yeah, that's the story. I think I've heard that before. The story of Java in Indonesia. So now that yeah, so that's definitely kind of a well-known one that I have heard before. That they cursed to the mountains, and now they have the two peaks in Indonesia. Yeah, that's a great addition. Great job, Wendy. So I guess now that we've got that, we will look at the next practice here. So with this one, you're just going to use a phrase from the top and bottom to make a sentence. So try to create a little story. Really, I would like maybe a few sentences, not just one. But just to kind of create a little story here, as that is the overall theme. So let's add these words to our vocabulary list so we have them. Let's see. So we have a beautiful princess. So an ugly frog. A scary ghost. An old sailor. An old castle. A desert island. A haunted house. And a small pond. So there we've kind of got the these new kind of descriptions and nouns for vocabulary here. So I guess now we've just really got Fernando and Abdul Aziz. So we'll start with Fernando. So Fernando, why don't you go ahead and kind of create a little story? So using these pictures and descriptions.
Okay, I'll try. There was a scary ghost that lived in a haunted house. In a long time ago, it was a child that was kidnapped and killed by a murder in that house. So the child, his spirit start to haunted and scary people that rent and lived in the house.
Yeah. Yeah, very good. Yeah, that's a very good example. So we've got the scary ghost living in the haunted house who was murdered by a murderer. But the ghost was, I guess, originally a small child. And then now, of course, they are haunting, whoever lives in the house. So, yeah,
Yeah,
always kind of scary.
yeah. It was right. When I start the story by there was.
Yeah,
I can
yeah,
start like
definitely.
okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of times you'll hear a story start with there was, blah, 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 or sometimes there once was, a ghost, there once was, a princess. So yeah, Fernando, you did exactly correct. A lot of stories start in that exact way. So yeah, very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So next we've got Abdul Aziz. So tell us your little story with the information here.
Okay.
There was an old sailor. He sails in the sea and he got lost, and he faced many storms and strong winds when he want to get to a desert of island. He reached to a desert of island, and after that he found an old castle. He entered to it, and suddenly a scare ghost appears, and after that he ran away and he get back to his boat. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Very good. So yeah, definitely the old sailor, gets lost at sea in lots of bad storms, eventually crashing to the desert island where he found the old castle. Yeah, and once he found the old castle, there was, of course, a scary ghost, as there always seems to be in old castles. But yeah, the ghost just kind of scared him, and he was able to run away and make it back to his ship or his boat. Yeah, very good. Great job, Abdulaziz. So yeah, great detail there. At least he was able to escape and get back to his boat. And then, let's see, so Wendy also added for us. So she went to an old castle, saw a scary ghost, and got scared. So yeah, another perfect example to use. So yeah, you can use to be scared, or so let's add these words. So scared, and then another way to say is just to be frightened. So to be really, really scared, you are frightened, or also usually you become fearful. So there we've got the, scared, frightened, fearful, other ways to, express your certain level of fear. So let's see. Also, Wilderson, were you wanting to participate, or are you still just listening?
No, now I can participate.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Tell us your story.
Well, this is very hard to me, but I will try. Okay, let's go. There was old sailor, not old sailor. There was old man living in an old castle. Okay, and one time appeared a scary ghost on his side. So this ghost was transforming. Well, the man take a small pound to his ghost, and this ghost transforming in a beautiful princess. So,
okay.
The old man was married with the princess and was happy forever.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, definitely took a very good turn at the end. Started out very scary, and then at least ended up with a nice, happy ending. So yeah, that's always good. That's
Okay.
always better. If you're scared easily, the nice, happy ending is always good. So since the ghosts kind of changed, now it's no problem, nice happy ending, and the old man was able to find a wife. So very good job, Wilderson. So in our last couple of minutes here, we're going to do the last task. So here, it's going to be kind of a group effort. So we'll have one person start the story, and then each person will kind of continue or add on to that story. So you can use some of the pictures here to guide you, but do feel free to use any information. So like I said, each student is just going to add to the story. So we'll have student A, you're just going to use the pictures and kind of start the story. And then student B is going to kind of pick up where the first student left off. And then the next student, who I guess will be C, will just kind of continue and close out the story. So let's see, we've got just the three of you participating here. Also, Wendy, if you want, you are more than welcome to start the story, Wendy, if you'd like, and I can read what Wendy says, and then whenever Wendy's answer is read, then we'll have Wilderson pick up where she left off. And then after Wilderson will be, of course, Fernando, and then we'll have Abdul Aziz kind of finish the story. So let's see, which of course, Wendy, only if you want to participate in that, that's okay. But let's see. So also I'll read their examples here. So there once was a beautiful princess who lived in a castle. Then kind of the next student picks up with near the castle there was a pond with an ugly frog, and then more details to follow. So just as an example, so let's see, we'll get the kind of story started here. So let's see, I guess we can start with Wilderson. I don't know if, Wendy, if you want to type all that, maybe it's a little bit much to type out a story, but we'll go ahead and we'll start with Wilderson. You can start the story as you want, and we'll just kind of move from there.
Okay. There was a queen that lived in a castle. Okay.
Yep. So the queen, she lived in a castle.
Yes.
So I guess the next Fernando. So what happens after that?
There was a queen in the castle, and in the morning, one day, she woke up and saw something strange downstairs her castle. She saw some servants that were there acting strange with some blood in their clothes.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we've got the queen. She was living in the castle, and she saw downstairs the servants. They were acting very strange, and they had blood on their clothes. So, Abdulaziz, if you want to pick it up from there and tell us what next. Abdulaziz? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Can you repeat that? What happened?
Yeah. So there was the queen. She was in her castle, and then she woke up and saw downstairs there were servants, and they were acting very strange, and they had blood on their clothing.
Yeah, the queen decided to punish the servant, and she called their military to punish the servant. And after that, they fire the servants and replace them with a new servant.
Okay, yeah, perfect. So yeah, Abdul Aziz's kind of conclusion there is, they end up calling in the military to kind of get rid of the servants, and they ended up all replaced. So it kind of sounds like maybe they did some, bad things. Maybe a murder had happened or something. So yeah, great job. Great little story there. Good job kind of following the storyline. So that does kind of bring us to the end of our class here. So fantastic job, everyone who participated. So yeah, great job, Wilderson, Fernando, Abdulaziz, and also Wendy. Thank you for participating through the messages since you weren't able to talk today. So yeah, fantastic job, everyone. Very, very happy with the results of today's discussion. Very much an enjoyable class. Before we do go, does anyone have any last-minute questions? Was there anything that you were unsure about or didn't understand? No? Oh, yeah, Abdul Aziz, you have a question?
I would like to ask you to translate any word, and I would like to ask you, what does it mean accordingly?
Accordingly. So usually, like, accordingly would be something that is done, to a certain way. Trying to think of the best way to describe it. It's kind of like something that's very specifically stated. You would just do it that way. So, like, according to the directions, you built, I don't know, a desk or something. So you were able to kind of construct a desk according to the directions. So it's really just kind of following a specific way.
Okay, following a specific way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so usually it's something that's kind of specifically stated or written, and you just kind of do it in that specific way.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a great question. So yeah, accordingly, always kind of doing something in a specific way to a particular, circumstances. So yeah, very good question. Great job, Abdulaziz. Any other last minute questions before we finish here today? No? Okay. Yeah, great. I'm happy everything is clear. Again, fantastic job, everyone who participated today. Very, very happy with the results of today's class. So yeah, have a good rest of your evening or morning, depending on your country. And yeah, hopefully we'll get to see each other in another class. So goodbye, everyone. Thank you for today's class. It was fun.
You're welcome, teacher. Bye.
Yeah, goodbye, Fernando.
Bye.